So here is more holes or openings in the ductwork, and that's an inch or more wide. It's almost as big as my finger. I mean, that's more than a 1/4 inch. And I've got some paper here so you can see how that's blowing it. And it's not just that one, it's all the way around. And if that's not sealed, like, who knows what's inside all of this, because that's just many feet of it. And then when I come to the return, which is like there's nothing going on there, and I look under here, and see if you can see under here. I mean, look at that gap. And here's the deal, it's not going to close because there are screws that are...
Daddy, Mommy cannot see.
Those screws are holding it apart, and that is not going to seal. I mean, that is a direct opening, so the return, it's returning from the closet where the ductwork is, in between the walls, and same thing over there. You see 2 screws, again, holding it apart, and so it won't seal. And there's no sealant tape or anything that's gonna be able to fit up in there and close that gap all the way across here. And who knows whether it's the same way on the sides and on the top of that. And that opening's like, what, 1 foot by 2 feet ish, at least. And that return duct wraps around here on the other side. And let's see if I can get my camera close enough to the edge. Not really, but I mean, do this. That's got to hug up to the wall, and that is, big enough for me to slide that paper between and wiggle it around, because that's where, there's no, look at that. I mean, there's no seal at all. And, of course, they've got these elbows that are, there's one there, there's one here, they're 90 degrees, there's another one there, and they've got, I don't know how many of these, but it's airflow loss all the way. And there's that, and let's check on the return over here, same thing. I mean, look at the gaps, it's everywhere. I mean, look at how huge that gap is. I could about stick my finger in there. The air is not returning from the return. It's returning from in here. I mean, look, I can actually fit my finger all the way through that. And there's just no seal. And of course, seeing this, of course, we're not going to have proper airflow downstairs. And inside the insulation, I'm sure every joint is like that. And when I come and go to the vents, I mean, let me show you. I'll go over to a vent and I'll show you what kind of pressure is coming out. So here's a vent, and I mean, okay, the edge of the paper is there, so it can lift. I mean, look at that. It doesn't even blow the paper. And that's full blast on everything it's got. Right there. That's as on as it gets. Let's go look at some others. Okay, here's another one. There it is. That's actually sucking. I don't know how that works. I mean, you can see that suck the air to it. Let's go find another one. Okay, here's another one. And I mean, that's acting more like a return. Yikes. Okay, so right now it's 75 up here and we'll go down and look at what it's at downstairs. So this is just being used as a thermometer now because it's disconnected from, this is the one that was controlling the upstairs, prior upstairs furnace. So we've got the old thermostat here showing it's 68 degrees in this room, 75 upstairs, and clearly not blowing because there's too much air loss all the way through, and it's blowing out even from the furnace itself, and I'll show you that. Okay, it had kicked off there, so I got this, I turned it on, and here's what this vent is doing. That's all the pressure it has, just enough to move the paper, barely. I mean, that's it. That's all we're getting here. Yeah, no wonder this room is not getting airflow. No wonder it's 7 degrees lower. And now the reason that it's lower, and the reason it's more upstairs. Now I've got all the vents upstairs closed, all of them, to see if we could increase the airflow down here, before I realized that there are so many gaps and air leaks all along the whole duct to down here. But you know, that makes sense that it's so much hotter upstairs, even though those ducts are closed, because of the air that is billowing out of the openings where the AC goes in and out. The AC connections go in and out right above the furnace itself. And I'll show you those. Okay, so here at the furnace, got that piece of paper, and look at how it's blowing that. Hey, look at that. How much it's blowing. I'm just holding it with the finger, so there's no, I mean, it's easy to see what it's doing. I'll hold it right here in the middle of, I mean, that's good. Yeah, it's almost 90 degrees how hard that's blowing because of all the air leaks here. I mean, even a foot away, and I can feel that. 2 feet away from it, I can feel that air blowing out of there. And same thing up here. I can feel it over here. I can feel it over here. Come around the other side. Same thing. I can feel it over here. I can feel it, I mean, you can see that. How hard that's just billowing out here. You can see here we are. I can get that in focus. You can see the gaps there. And with gaps like that, of course, it's not going to be sending that air downstairs through this duct that goes here, down, over here, back over there, and down and into what we were looking at downstairs. And all of those bends, I am certain, have so much air leakage, and I just, you know, I can't confirm specifically beyond the ones that I saw because these are in the bag with the insulation, but that's not going to hold that pressurized air flowing down. I mean, that's, you know, the screw hole there, that's, I can even feel that, obviously, you know, that's blowing. See if I can find something that can show that. Yep, you can see that. I mean, there's just, the system's not sealed anywhere, and that's, I believe, the problem. Let's see down here for the return, if we can see it. Yep, same thing. There's no tape, no sealant. It's all air leakage everywhere, and I can't see in there to confirm the same thing, but I only have to suppose that that's the case absolutely everywhere, which is why we don't have anything that's actually flowing up or down from the lower level, and why we're with all the air leakage in here and that's heating up here, so overheating up here, and then all the air leakage through the whole system, that it's superheating here, and there's no air getting actually down to the vents or up from the return because there's holes all the way. I mean, that's just it's gonna suck air from down here under the floor all over everywhere. I mean, it's just holes everywhere, and it's gonna return from there. Let's look on the other side, just because that's, you know, one of the few places I can actually show you, considering that everything else is covered. There it is, you know, all the way around. I mean, look at that gap. You know, it's an inch by a quarter inch there, and it's at every little corner, every little turn, and so highly disappointed. Let's see up top here. Look, so this is the vent going down. I mean, I can see in one side and out the other. Let me get the angle for you. See that? I can see in one side and out the other there through those openings. And yeah, I can feel air flowing through them. You can see it blowing on that insulation. I mean, how on earth am I going to get any kind of pressure downstairs if I'm leaking that air everywhere for the whole distance here? I mean, that is, frankly, it's a lot of distance. It's a lot of loss. Let's see what we can see up here. So again, for the return, you can see right out there, there's no seal whatsoever. It is just squished up net close to it, but it's not even touching, honestly. It's just, you know, there's a quarter-inch gap. There's no seal, and so there's no return. And there you can see it from there. So it's a big fail. For me, this is as big a fail as you can, because everything's leaking, and there's complete disappointment. Supposedly the only thing left to do is hook up the electrical for the AC, that's definitely not the only thing that's left to do. And this is completely unacceptable. It's not doing the job at all. We've been commenting to each other these last few days how it's cold. It's cold downstairs, and it's hot up here. And yeah, of course. But I mean, this is, this is not a $15,000 job that's been done. So I mean, that's what's been charged, but that's not what's been done. And so we'll see how this is remedied, because it has to be remedied. This is completely non-functional. I mean, okay, I'm back up as far as I can here with the subfloor, and I can feel the air flowing, and I'm 4 feet away here, and I can feel the air still coming out of here. Okay, I mean, right here, it's billowing out from here, from here, from here. But there's supposed to be some rubber grommets that cover around these. They're not here. They're not anywhere that I know of. Obviously, big gaps all the way around up here, there. You can see airflow there, and that's supposed to be the closed system, pushing that air through the ducts. See the gaps. So, I'm sorry to have to confront this, to be honest, because it has to get fixed. Because it's not working. And of course it's not working. So, honestly, I'm sorry to have to confront this and to have to, have gone on about it this whole time, but this is the biggest disappointment that we've encountered this year, to be honest. And there's been a lot happening this year, so this is really sad and frustrating and upsetting. And this is, tomorrow's a weekend to this project, and there's show some details here. There's the hole going outside. See if I can show you here. I mean, so that's the hole going outside. It's gone up and just crossed the access to the attic instead of going to the side of it. And I mean, hey, at least move it over a little, guide it over or something. But it's just, and I haven't even, I know they did some stuff up top, and I haven't even crawled up to look at that yet. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna find? This all needs sealed. It needs basically redone. I mean, all that insulation's got to come out, and the whole thing has to be sealed, because that insulation is worthless with all the air leaks. That's not going to hold the air in. Obviously, it's not doing it. So it's got to be fixed. I mean, am I capable of doing it myself? Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm paying $15,000 for. So, I look forward to this being remedied immediately, and not freezing at night, and having proper airflow with a proper installation. So that's where we're at. That's where we're sitting with this, unfortunately.